It's something you'll get a ton of attacks on mass media and all of this, but there is, are you willing to accept less than what you wanted, which frankly we do all the time, and these accusations about how we're petulant and always holding out and don't understand the big picture and all this other stuff. I'm constantly taking votes where I accept less than what we wanted. It is a part of electoral politics. But what I've been very concerned about this entire time is, are we going to lock in emissions increases? And there will be folks, and there's going to be a lot of folks saying, this doesn't do that. And there's a lot of funny math around emissions. People will just count, for example, CO2 emissions, and they don't count methane emissions and things like that. And I have said this in closed doors. I have said this to our caucus. I have said this, expressed this to our speaker. I have said this to everybody. I cannot vote to increase our emissions without a commitment to draw them down. And a lot of the people making these decisions aren't going to be here in 2050 and in 2060. And we are. And so, we need a commitment to draw them down. And people want to say like a no is a protest and immature and all this other stuff. And I first want to say, first and foremost, I congratulate the president. What he is doing right now is extremely difficult because we want to enact bold policy that impacts the lives of every single person in this country. The position he is in is not easy because we want him, this whole country wants him to do that in a time when our political margins are more narrow than ever before. We have one of the narrowest margins in the House in U.S. history. We have a 50-50 Senate. The position he is in is very, very difficult. And for him to pass such large legislation in such a difficult time, that is an accomplishment. And I am not here to say that the folks who supported this bill are bad. I do not speak poorly of anybody, any of that. I'm not here to trash that. But this entire time, we said, and I made a promise to my community, the community that has elected me. And I'm aware that I represent a lot more people than just the folks that live in my pocket of Queens and the Bronx. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, every 2 years, I have to go back to New York's 14th Congressional District and ask them to trust me to represent them and their interests. And all of this week, if you live in our community in New York 14, you all have been calling me. You all have been on Zooms with me. You can see, literally, I'll go on Zoom with a group of 5 constituents, that represent communities that we advocate in Jackson Heights and in Parkchester and all over the place. And they'll say, well, what do you think about that? What do you think about this? And I actively consult with my community all the time. And